She mentioned. Okay, and then Kay's in charge of getting it posted tomorrow. So, stay tuned. We'll hope that it's all there. So I told you last week that I did my shorties on Magic Loop. What I learned is that I shouldn't have done a stranded knitting project on Magic Loop. I mean, I got through it. It worked out okay, but I wish that I had, and if you all mute yourself, that again helps as we're recording and sharing. And then Kay will call your name and you take yourself off. But I wish that I had just done. So this week I'm doing one at a time. So I'm going to see how I like doing one at a time. And then next week, I'm going to do 2 circs at like a Magic Loop, 2 at a time on 2 circulars. So I'm really kind of testing myself to see what I like. But one of the things that I felt was that being an efficient sock knitter that I am, that by the time I got everything organized with these 2 things, I could have had half a sock knit. So I'm testing it this week. That is my test. So that's the one thing. The one thing that I kind of learned was, and that doesn't mean that I wouldn't do it again, but that was the thing I learned by doing my 2. So did get mine done, and it's Happy Flag Day. So I'm going to make Kay the host. So good to see you all. Have a fabulous week. And then next week we'll be back to show and tell and start our 3rd sprint. So Kay, let's see if I can make you the host. We'll do that.
Well,
okay.
definitely enjoy those mountain temperatures, because we are going to have mountain temperatures here. So you enjoy that nice weather and the mountain.
Well, it's not nice up here at all. It's 91 degrees.
Ooh.
And it's horribly hot.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. We've been out and about, and every time we've gone out and about, we've come back and said, it is just too hot. I mean, especially in June in Estes, you should be in the 60s and 70s. Mm-hmm. And it's 90 and sweating and all that. So, okay, thanks. But the only benefit is it cools off. It cools off at night. So, Kay, you're the host, so take it away.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Alrighty, I'll give you my little show and tell, and then we'll move into everybody else. Here's my pair, and I did the jelly roll, and I'm bad about modifying, doing things to what I like. So I used the cuff pattern, and then I did 4 single rows after the cuff before I started, and I did a fish lips kiss. Her pattern actually has a heel flap. So I did that my own. So that's what I finished. And this week, I'm going to do this multi-stripe of Jessica's. I did the do-si-do socks in it this winter and have a nice amount left. I've got 2 of these like this because I did them 2 at a time. So I'm going to do those this week with the shorties. I'm debating if I want to try the jelly roll and just see how the 2 little cuffs come out using stripes here, or I may just do a straight one. I haven't totally decided, but by the end of the thing, I'm going to be ready to cast on, so I'll have to decide by then. So what did I learn? We all have our different styles with needles, and what I like sometimes, I wouldn't like another time. And so that's why I think it's fun to have enough things in an arsenal where I'm doing a different sock all the time. I can say, I'm tired of doing this one in this manner. Now I can do it this one in another way. So I think that's what's fun. And I think the more you knit socks, the more you also can say, putting things together. What do I like about one sock? I maybe like a pattern stitch. How can I just use that pattern stitch without looking for and buying a pattern? So those are all things that the more you knit socks, the more you feel a little more comfortable in your decisions of freedom to do something different. So, okay, we'll start, and I'm just going to kind of go along my screen for what I'm seeing. So we'll do Elizabeth, and then we'll do Connie, and then we'll do Diana. So Elizabeth, are you ready for some show and tell?
I am. I have, oops, let's see, where's my camera? I have two, sorry. There we go. I have two. It was a very simple pattern called super simple short socks, something like that. What I learned was, I actually liked doing this first thing in the morning. I had a very busy week and I was at a conference over the weekend. So I would get up every morning, and when I was drinking my coffee, I would knit my socks. And when I got up this morning and I didn't have any socks to knit, I kind of missed it.
You know, I've
And
noticed
then,
that crazy sock lady, I've noticed that she does like her 30 minutes of knitting every morning. And
mhm.
that's kind of the habit you got into then.
It was. And then I am going to be using this month's Lazy Bee with a blue, and I am going to do the Jelly Roll sock.
You'll enjoy it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Connie? Oh, I'm glad you're muted.
Sorry, thank you. I did not do a sock sprint sock because I was working on socks for my grandson. And I did what, so, you know, it doesn't count for this week or whatever, but one thing I did do is I did insert short row heel. And I really did like, you know, it was great. I was like, well, I know how to do this. And they turned out great. So I was really excited about that. But I am going to sprint this week. And here's my yarn. It's one of the summer ones that, well, after sock month in March, remember she did some specialty ones for sock knitters. And this is one called In Anticipation of Spring, I think. It's mostly pinks and reds and a little bit of taupe. So that will be my, and I am going to do the Rose City Rollers, which are somewhat similar to the Jelly Rolls.
Yeah.
Only it's a single rather than a double roll.
Okay. Those will be pretty. Thank you, Connie. Diana, hi.
No, quiet.
Somebody
So
mute her. Okay, Diana, okay, we got you.
I did finish my shorties. I was gonna do the No Fear shorty socks, but the only thing that is probably the same as the pattern is the 15 rows between the cuff and the heel. So, and then for this week, I'm gonna use Lazy Bees solid tonal and the Flying Birds pattern by Hoagie Locatelli.
Sure.
And I tried the 2 at a time method, even though I didn't like it before. And the bag trick did help, but I'm still not a huge fan. So I'll probably knit these others 1 at a time.
Okay. See, that's what we learn by trying different things, what we like and what we don't like.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, Mary, we'll do Mary, Janet, and then Valerie.
Well, this, I'm drawing a blank on my pattern now. Oh yes, it's a word from a different language, so I'll probably not pronounce it right, but it is DIVHI, so Divhi, something like that. And then I did the Bay City or the Rose City rolled cuff, which I've used before and really liked. I think it's I did modify it with a little bit of ribbing down below. And then the DV high pattern is kind of a single cable stitch, which creates these V's. And I found after a while, when I was trying to speed up at the end, that if I did 2 plain rows instead of one plain row, that created more space between the V's. It still looked nice, but it made things go a lot faster. So I guess that's what I learned.
Now, see, that's exactly what I mean when I say the more you knit, the more you can do modifications to things and do it. So great job doing that.
And then I just used a little bit of a different color on the toe, and I used the, for these shorty socks, I actually like this old fashioned heel flap type heel because I like to use these for hiking and I want something that's sturdier. So I think this slip stitch heel flap is I hope pretty substantial, and it's going to last me a long time. And
Great.
next week, I think I'm going to have a personal challenge of getting the pair of this sock done. So I'm not going to really participate in the contest or challenge or whatever, but this is my personal challenge to get the pair for that one done.
You'll still sock along with us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mary. Okay, Janet. And then you're going to want to unmute.
Quiet.
There we go. Okay. Here are my two skeins. And that is the peachy Brights from Lazy Bee. And my pattern is going to be, let's see here. My pattern is from Ravelry, and it is called the Sparkling Bubbles Socks by Chia US.
Sparkling Bubble.
Sparkling Bubbles Socks. They have kind of an eyelet pattern in it. It's kind of hard to show this because I'm charging my iPad, so you'll have to forgive me. That's why I have kind of a strange setup here, connected to an iPad cord. I don't know. I can't really show this very well. It's got an eyelet pattern in the foot and around the cuff.
Okay, I enjoyed when everybody put up the patterns they used this week on our Ravelry group page. That was really nice to kind of be able to go, because I'd read what the different patterns were, and then I'd go take a look and look them up and mark them on Ravelry. So kind of made that really nice, and I enjoyed seeing the progress of everybody's socks.
Yeah,
So-
I had listed on the Ravelry website. If you want to look at it, it's under J Kane, I believe.
Okay,
Yeah. So I'm ready to start when the bell goes off. I love everything that everybody else has done so far. It's gorgeous. They've turned out very, very pretty. Gives me incentive to try some different things.
Oh,
I
no.
don't know whether I'll ever get really good at doing the two at once. I'm gonna wait until I have a little more time to fiddle with that. But yeah, so
that works. Thank you, Janet.
yeah.
Miss Valerie.
Yes. I did
After you're done, please, would you check to make sure you stay muted then, so we don't have as much background noise coming across? Thank you.
Okay, I did Summerlee Design Basic Sock, I think it's called. Just the basic sock. It is a no-show sock. And I didn't do anything extra. I did put in a fish lips kiss heel. But I follow the pattern, and it was striping yarn, and so I didn't add any toes or heels. It was very fast, which I like. So I have those. This week I'm going to do the COVID, Bye Bye COVID 2020 socks. And I'm going to use this teal and kind of a rust color as my heels and toes, and one of my jelly rolls. I'm going to do the jelly roll socks this time. And I started doing 2 socks at a time on 2, Kay's laughing, 2 socks at a time on 2 separate needles. Did great. I got past the cuffs and it was really going well, but I think I got too confident. And before long, I had everything on one needle and it was a total disaster. So I took them off and I did each sock on its own needle. But what I did is I knit a stripe on one and then I knit the stripe on the other and then a stripe on. And I had these done on Saturday when I left work at 4 o'clock, I was here. And by Saturday evening, I was ready to Kitchener both of my toes. I went very, very fast. So that was what I learned. Don't do 2 needles at a time, not for me. Maybe when I'm not in a race, I could do 2 socks at a time. Anyway, that's what I learned.
Thank you. Okay, we'll do Cheryl and then we'll do Sue Wilkins and then Becky Robertson. So Cheryl?
I didn't participate in this past week. And so I'm going to this week. And I'm going to use the International Quilt Museum. And I'm going to do the vanilla shortbread. And just a simple pattern. I've never done shorties before.
You'll love them. Okay,
Yep. I'm looking forward to it.
good. Glad to have you on this week, Cheryl. We missed you last week. Okay, Sue Wilkins.
I am
Thank
just
you.
oh, whoops. I am just an observer. I'm not participating, but I want to learn things and see what everybody's doing.
You know, Sue, we're going to get you hooked on this yet. You just wait.
Okay.
It'll be our challenge.
Yeah, that's for sure.
A bad way. Okay, Becky.
I completed just a very simple, like the vanilla. Used up some yarn that I already had. I chose this simple pattern just because of my work schedule, and I struggled to get it done just because I didn't have the hours to devote. But I did get it done. The one thing I learned is I didn't put any rows between my cuff, so it's like a very low fitting, which is fine. It's kind of like a little slipper almost, but I don't know what the normal, like other patterns call between the cuff and the heel, if it's like 5 or 10 or.
You know, one thing that I have read before is that it said before your heel, always have an inch after your cuff. That's
Okay.
one thing I've read. And I find for myself, it helps to have about that much so that my sock just doesn't fall in.
Yeah.
But, you know, when I did the shorties with the roll, I didn't feel like I needed quite as much because I felt like the roll helps hold the socks up. Kind of like the old, when shorty socks first came out, and you remember the little pom-pom? I always thought that looked dorky. Well, now I know why the little pom-pom's there, and it was to hold the sock up. And you see some socks will have a little bit of a tab at the top of them too, that's a little bit thicker and an extra knitted piece, the same thing. So Mary, were you going to say something? Because I thought you may be unmuted because you've done a lot of socks too.
Well, I was just gonna say my one other pair of shorty socks, I did the rolled cuff and then or just a ribbed cuff, and I did like the rolled cuff just for that reason because I thought it helped keep it above the shoe a little better. I didn't have too much trouble with the other one, but yeah, I've been doing like an inch to an inch and a half before I start my heel. But I do like the rolled cuff just for that reason.
Okay, that's
I've
good to know.
also done a little picot cuff where the picot, you have it basically folded over, so you have a double layer there. And I found that one, for me, stays up better too than when I do just a straight ribbing.
Okay.
So Becky, and this week you're gonna do her again?
Oh, I am. Yeah, it's the striped, and it's the into the pale stripes. So it's a real pretty color.
Good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Becky. Okay, let's see, we'll do Anne, and then we'll do our other Becky, and then we'll do Sue Brinkman. So Ann Ball, we got two Ann, so Ann Ball, I'm sorry.
Okay, I did just the plain Rose City rollers. You can see it. I had big aspirations to do 2 at a time on 2 circular needles while driving to Estes Park. Okay, what did I
You
learn?
weren't the driver, right?
No, I was not the driver, but we had a disaster. So I switched to 1 per needle and just did like everyone else, do an inch, then do the other sock. I did a short row heel. And what I noticed there was that I wasn't always careful when I slipped the stitches. And so it's not very neat looking. I'll be more careful next time to insert in the back, not in the front, because then they got twisted and it's not great looking, but they fit fine. And they're too small for my daughter, which is brilliant because now she can't wear them. And then next time I'm doing this one, which is the Capital City Humane Society. And again, the jelly roll, and I'll just make them a touch longer so Ellie can have them.
And what is the yarn you used this time? Because I thought that was really pretty and I wasn't sure which one of those it was.
It was Oak Lake Fireworks.
Okay.
Must have been July last year or
I
something.
wonder, because I wonder if that's the one I've been kind of holding on to. I'll have to go look at that
really is
now.
beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really pretty. I like that.
And can I just ask so if it has the rolled top, you do like 1.5 inches and that's plenty before you start the heel, or do you recommend more?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you what mine has, so you can then decide. This one is the double jelly roll. So this first piece, can you see it okay?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
This first piece is 1 inch, I did 1.5 inches. You knit that one, then you knit the second one. That one's 1 inch.
Okay.
Then your next step is to knit a row where you're knitting the 2 of them together. You have each on a separate needle and you're knitting through both stitches, 1 on each needle to connect them. And then I did 4 more rows and then I started my heel. So I think probably overall, I probably unrolled, I probably have maybe 2.5 almost, but rolled up. I did big tape measure here with me. I would say with them rolled and just laying without doing anything, 1.25 inches with them rolled where the heel starts.
Okay.
I wouldn't probably want anything less than that.
So it was 1.5 and then 1 and then 4 rows.
Yes, that's me. You know, all of our feet are a little bit different and our ankles and where things fall on us, but that one fit really nice for me and hit on my foot where I wanted it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Becky.
So I am just not doing the sprint. I am just doing the sock along, but I did finish 1 sock. It's kind of a shorty. I don't know if you can kind of see
That's
that
cute.
there. So I learned how to put in a different heel than what the pattern is. It's a short row heel, but and then a little stripe on the toe.
Because this is your year that you're getting experience and expertise on socks.
Yes, and I'm trying to absorb any tips and tricks and little excitement and support to learn as much as I can. So
Good.
yeah, it's been a long, like 5 months of learning, but I'm doing it.
Well,
here's proof.
Maybe next week you'll want to try a shorty pair with us.
I know you guys are very exciting, getting me excited.
Good.
So
Good. Okay, Sue Brinkman.
Well, I took on a challenge of a Primavera socks, which the pattern itself used 2 tonal, one lighter than the other, but I did it with the leftover from the sock from the winter shawl. And the black was was carried along. You knit 1 row of black and 1 row of the other color. And the top of it is knit pearl, it's broken rib.
Hold that up again for us because we didn't get, there we go. Let's get a good view of it. Okay. And so you got your pair done.
Yes.
Cool. Very good.
And I have a suggestion for people who are interested in knitting 2 socks at a time. I don't like to take the time to measure half my skein. So I have a large cup and 1 skein. This is the yarn that I'm going to be using, which is left over from a sock. And I pull the center out and it goes into the bottom like this. So it pulls up the side, and then I knit from both the center and from the outside, and they don't tangle.
Okay.
The
You let
sock
it roll around inside your cup.
Mm-hmm. Well, it doesn't roll because the cup is just the right size that it doesn't turn. It stays how I put it in there. And the pattern that I'm seriously considering, well, one other thing about the socks that I finished is they have a Greek short turn row. They're done from toe up.
Mm-hmm.
And then you do the heel, and with the heel flap. It was really fun trying to do it in reverse of what you normally do a heel flap.
So you learned a new technique.
And next week's sock, if I do the one that I'm thinking about, is the Summertime Socks by Lolo, which has a Dutch turn. Dutch heel turn.
Okay, we're gonna have a little bit of every culture in here with the socks before we're done. What yarn are you using for that? Do you have your yarn there?
I had it up. It's what I showed you in here. It's left over from Lazy Beef, one of the fall colors.
Okay.
I have lots of leftovers I'm digging out.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, we'll do Luann and then Stephanie and Maggie. So Luann?
Well, I'm still working on a big sock. I'm almost ready to start the toes, so I'm going to get that done this week, and then I'm hoping next week maybe I can do a shorty pair. I'm not sure what pattern I'm going to use, but I've got my yarn this week. It's the All Cheer the 4th is here. It's a stripe.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll probably be just a pretty plain one because I guess I'm learning. I am pretty slow, so it's just going to be, I don't know if I can even get a plain pair done, but I'm going to give it a shot probably next week.
You know, the fun thing is when you have all those pretty yarns with stripes and stuff, you don't need to worry about doing anything fancy with them. Let the yarn do the work and choose just a nice, what would be a simpler, faster pattern.
That's kind of what I thought. Just, yeah, keep it as simple as possible and maybe, fingers crossed.
Yeah. Very good. Thanks, Luann. Stephanie.
Okay, well, I got mine done. They're just plain ones. I just did 4 rows in ribbing, and then I did about 1 inch before I started the heel, and I did the fish lips. So I learned that I should get my socks done first. I didn't start till Wednesday, and then I ended up not having as much time later on as I thought I would have. So it was a struggle to finish these because I was working on something else. So I am going to start tonight when the whistle blows.
And did you make progress on your brioche? She's paused in there after the first sock to get a change of pace and did some brioche and then came back.
Yep. So this week I'm using this London Fog color, and I'm doing By the Ocean. Let's see. Oh, it went off. So it just has like a textured panel down the front. So that's what I'm doing for this week.
Good. I really like that chocolate color in your sock.
Oh, thanks.
Isn't it kind of a chocolate in the toe and heel?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Maggie.
Hi. So here's what I did this week. Just pretty basic, roll top. I had never done a heel flap before, so that's why I chose this, because I just kind of wanted to try it. So that was fun. And then this week, I'm gonna do some bright pink with a little neon contrast. I brought my daughter into the store and she picked that out. So I'm going to my challenge this week is to fit someone else's foot other than my own. And I've never done the fish lip heel. And so I'm going to try that this week as well.
Good.
So,
How did you like doing the heel flap?
I liked it. I mean, it's a different look, which is kind of fun. So I'm glad I tried it.
Good. It'll be interesting to see when you have both of the styles, the heel flap and the fish lips kiss.
Yeah.
How you like which one for whatever kind of reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, it will be.
Good. And thank you. It was fun to see your daughter in the shop too picking. She was having fun picking.
Yeah, she likes to come in and pick out my next project for me.
That's good. Maybe one of these times it'll be her picking her own project.
Exactly. That's the hope.
Yeah. Thanks, Maggie. Okay. Sherry Walker.
Am I on?
You're on.
You can hear me? Hi, everybody. I finished. This is my first pair of shorty socks.
Look good.
And thanks. I used the Crazy Sock Ladies morning coffee pattern and just made it shorter. And she also had a little thing about just doing a contrast color just in the heel flap or the heel turn. So I did that, and then the toes. And what I learned was that I can do a German twist cast on after many tries practicing. I got that. And it was also my first time I did magic loop, and that was nice. I enjoyed that. And then I also learned one more thing, that I can measure my yarn, and I have so much of this left, I can do another pair.
Exactly.
Because I still have over 100 grams. So I don't think I'll do the sprint. I think I want to make a long pair since I have so much yarn left, but I will knit along.
You know, I have found with Jessica's yarns that her yarns are so high in yardage, which is exceptional for sock yarn, that I can always get a full pair with usually about a 6.5 inch cuff easily and a pair of shorties without having to worry. And so, you know, that's kind of an added benefit when you know you can actually end up with 2 pairs of socks, one for each season.
Yeah. So
Sherry, good to have you on.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll do Anne and Michelle and then Karen Rowe.
Hi. Well, I got finished with my sprint and I made socks. These are for my granddaughter. So she's not here, so she hasn't been able to try them on. So we'll see. And I wish I had, after reading your addition to the thread on Ravelry, that to add 4 rows after the
jelly
after you
roll.
connect. Yeah. So I don't know if they're gonna fit. Hopefully they'll be okay. So that's right. If I do this again, I may do another one this week with a different, for myself with different yarn. So this is for Anna. So hopefully they'll fit. Yeah, so they'll fit. Hopefully they will. So anyway, she wears size 6. So we measured her foot and everything. So then next week I'm going to, I think I haven't decided what I'm gonna do. I may do the jelly roll again, and I'm going to use this one. This was May's June Lazy Bee yarn. I think it was the May one. I can't remember what the name of it was.
Okay.
This last May. And then this for contrast. So
that's so cute.
So that's what I'm going to do. So
good. Okay, Michelle.
So these are my socks, my little shorties. I did, they're just called shorty socks. This is like literally my second pair of socks. So I tried to do something easy. And after I started the pattern and got past the heel, I thought, yeah, I can't do that. So I just went back to the basic, just stockinette stitch and just made them pretty simple. So one thing that I did learn is that the pattern said to the roll cuff to do it about 1.5 inches. and I did, but I guess just the size of my foot, whatever, it literally fit more like a no-show sock. It didn't, it was below my ankle. And so if I do these again, I'm gonna actually make it longer just to make sure that because I think it didn't roll. It literally, it was flat along my, kind of flat like that along my ankle. So I might go back to maybe a ribbed cuff, kind of like we did in the sock class, and just make it a little bit shorter, and then, finish there. My next sock, I haven't decided. I have this red and white with the blue that I got in the shop on Saturday. I'm either going to do that one, or I have some beige left from my sock class and some green that I bought this weekend that I kind of like. So I haven't decided which color I'm going to use, but probably just going to go back to the basic sock that we learned in sock class and just shorten up the cuff and then go from there, just until I can kind of get a little bit more comfortable with the different types of socks.
That's so true. When you make a different style, it's like beginning the sock knitting and finding your first fit. When you change the style up on a sock, you again have to kind of get to adjust to what fits good to your foot with a different style. And so it's not uncommon, because I have some shorties that I did that I really don't stay up good enough in my shoe. And so I've learned what I need to do to accommodate my foot, so they do. Okay, thank you. Karen.
I'm not going to race this week. I'm just watching.
Okay. And are you working on socks at all, or other projects? What do you have going?
It's a little pair of socks.
Yep. Okay. But you're going to take it at the pace that's good for your elbow and.
Yep.
That sounds good, Karen. Okay, Wendy, are you there? Oh, we don't have Wendy's picture, but we'll see if Wendy's alive here with us.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
And I'm just watching and getting tips. And right now I am knitting, but I'm knitting a, is this going to show? I'm knitting a chemo hat for a friend who has ovarian cancer. So I want to get this, should be done maybe tonight or tomorrow.
Very
so that
good.
She can be wearing it, yeah.
What a nice way to give some kindness to someone that needs some gentle hugs. So
right. That's one way I can let her know I'm thinking about her. Yeah,
exactly. Well, thanks for being on, Wendy. And
sure,
maybe next time we do a camp thing with socks, you'll be ready to do the socks with us.
I'll be ready then. Right.
Okay.
Bye.
All righty. We'll do Sandra, and we'll do Deanna, and then Nancy. So Sandra, I'm not sure how to say your last name.
It's Mahoja.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's good to see you at the shop today.
Yeah, it was really fun. I really enjoyed it, even though it was really quick. I did the ruffle. I don't know how to show. I did the ruffle cuff socks, and I started out, and I can really tell the difference between when I'm really, really stressed and when I'm really, really nice and mellow. So my cuffs don't match, unfortunately, but that's okay. These are just gonna never be worn outside, will be worn in the house. So that was for this week. Next week, I'm going to be using my Kansas City yarn with this for the toe and heel. And I think I'm going to do this, it's called Slip the Rainbow. So, and it's a toe up sock. I learned that I prefer signature needles for Magic Loop, using signature needles over my Addy Rockets. And also I need to adjust my Fish Lips Kiss heel. I think I need to make my heel just a little bit bigger. So I need to read the pattern on that to find out how to do that too, because it's just a tad short, or either that, or I made, the space between the cuff and the heel not long enough. I may have needed to knit more space.
Right, before you start the heel.
Before I
That
start
would
the
help.
heel. But that's
Mhm.
why I said this is my stress sock. So, I was just glad to even get to the heel at that time. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do for next week.
Okay, thank you, Sandra. And Deanna, the mother of the groom that had a busy weekend.
I did. We got through it.
Good.
So, and I finished my socks. They're just,
Okay, did you
they're
finish
just
during the
vanilla.
rehearsal dinner?
I did not knit at all over the weekend. Not until I had to finish them up yesterday afternoon after they opened gifts and stuff. So, but I had gotten one done right away and then got the other one part way, and stuff. So I just did, the vanilla because I liked it. Now I had done my first shorty pair I had done the week before to practice to see, and I did add, I had not done enough, after the cuff before the heel. So I added more rounds on this time, and I might add a few more. This fits pretty nice, but actually I haven't put a shoe on with it. So should probably do that first, but I thought I might just put a few more rows in. And then, so for this week, I'm using the winter solstice leftover from the winter solstice with the, the contrast. So, and I haven't really picked a pattern. I don't know. I really like vanilla. It's quick. Plus, like I said, these yarns are so great. They just have a great look. So sometimes I just feel like and especially I think for a shorty, because some that I even do a pattern, I'll do it on the leg and I won't do it on the foot because it's in the shoe and it, so it's probably going to be vanilla, but oh well, hopefully I'll get this one done too.
Good. I bet you do. Okay, Nancy.
Which Nancy?
Yeah,
Is there
you're
more-
right. Oh,
Me?
Nancy Schmidt. Okay.
Okay. Well, I got one done for
Mhm.
sure. And the other one, I just have to do the toe. So, which I thought was pretty good considering I've had a busy week.
Yes, you
So
have.
I'm on to the toe. So
Good. And your plan for
Moved.
next week?
I've got the yarn picked out. I think I'm going to do this yarn, which is not sure what it's called because the label's tucked in here.
Is that the pretty gray one with all the colors that go through it then? And
It's more blue.
blue. Okay.
Yeah. It's Feisty Formal is what the tag says. I think that's what I'm going to use, but I don't know what pattern yet. But that's the color.
Good.
So yeah. And what I learned was you can take a pattern that says to use double point needles and you can flip it around and use a magic loop with a little help from a friend.
Always good to have, call a friend, right?
Yes. And yes, Kay, thank you for your help. But yeah, the second sock went much quicker, even though I'm not done, but I haven't knitted on it as much either. So
Good.
haven't had as much time to knit, but
I understand that. It's a busy
Yeah,
time
and
for a
I-
lot of people, and sometimes when we were the sandwich generation, we have our commitment times change rapidly. So
yeah, but I will get it done tonight if that counts. But
Okay.
it'll be done.
All righty. Okay. Leslie. Okay, we aren't hearing you. You must not have your mic on. You're not muted. You know what, Leslie, we'll go on because we're not getting you and we'll see if we can get you on. We're not hearing you. You know what, Leslie, do you have any socks you want to show us? Let's maybe just do it that way. Okay, we aren't hearing you, so I'm gonna move on here and get the rest of our group in. Let's see, Diane Ross, let's hear from you.
Well, I got mine done.
Now, can you show us a picture, Diane, or are you at a spot where you can't show?
Oh, no, I thought I was showing.
Maybe I'm the only one that's not seeing you, huh? Nope, they're saying, nope, we're not seeing you.
Well, what do I have to do to show me myself? I don't know.
Turn your camera on.
Well, I thought I had it on.
Go, Diane, go lower left corner. There is a mute button and there's also a video button. Maybe try the video.
Lower right-hand corner, you mean?
Lower left.
Lower left.
The only thing I have on my lower left is Valerie Knapp. Let's see. Zoom more. Let me
Look
see
on
what-
the top. Look on the top and see if it's on the top. Mine's on the top.
Okay. Can you see me now?
No.
Nope.
Are you on gallery view?
No.
Go on gallery view.
Okay. Okay. There. Okay. There we are. Now, can you see me?
No.
Well, I don't know. I'm here.
Okay, then you
And
just
I have
talk to
my
us,
socks
Diane.
What?
You just talk to us, Diane, and tell us what you've done and what you're planning for this week.
Okay, I have a very vanilla sock. I think I've learned a lot. I tore out, never knit a fish lips first time when you're babysitting a 2-year-old because it doesn't work. Okay, but I got them done, and like a lot of you, I learned that I'm going to put more rows before I start my my fish lip.
Okay, you know, that seems to be pretty much a consistent thing. So I think if we've all learned something, what we're learning here is we need to make sure we have enough space between whatever we do for our cuff before we start the heel with the fish lips, because the fish lips heel really is, I think, a little bit smaller than when we do an afterthought, as well as, I think, smaller yet than doing the heel flap. So I think that's a good thing that we can all kind of keep that in mind.
Right.
Okay, thank you, Diane.
You're welcome.
And it looks like Leslie's maybe trying to connect in again. We'll see if we have her. Did I get everybody or did I miss somebody? I've been trying to kind of go between my two screens because you don't all fit on one, but if I miss somebody, please hop on. Okay, I'm going to talk here a little bit about doing with the small needles, with a 9-10 inch, and kind of what I think about it when I use it. So if you have questions as I go, you know, please jump in and ask them. And I'm going to start first with the show and tell. And this is one thing that I have, and this is a little mini set. You know, a lot of us have the big set of the ChiaoGoo needles. This is the minis, and the mini set starts with, it has a size 0, a 1, and notice here, my 1s are missing, up to a size 3, and it has 2 different lengths. You have one set of the needles that is, they're 3-inch needles, and then you have the other set that is a 2-inch needle. And you can use, you have the mini cords. With the ChiaoGoo has 3 basic kind of cords. We have a mini cord, which you use on your really small needles. Anytime you have like a size 1 that's an interchangeable and smaller, you need to use the mini cables. And then you have the small cables, which we use typically up to, I think, a size 7 or so. And then we have the large, not needles, but the large cable connectors. So you have 3 different sizes of cables. So these, you have to use the little mini cables. This then is like being able to have a full set, or the other option one can go with, and I can tell you I have both. The other one is where you have one size of needle that comes in a little mini set, and you have like this, my needles are out of here because they're in use, but you have the 2-inch, a pair of 2-inch, and a pair of 3-inch, and you have 2 cords with it. You have a 5-inch and a 6-inch. So you can make the smallest one, if you used your 2-inchers with your 5-inch, would give you 9 inches. Or you can use your 3 inches with the 6 and have up to 12. Now you can also buy the mini cables in longer lengths and actually even use these if you want to do magic loop and stuff, because I've gotten the other cables to use them just to have more options available. But if I like to do both of my socks at the same time, but not on the same needle. Like this last week, some of us worked with doing 2 socks on a magic loop, or you can do 2 socks on 2 separate, like 24 inchers and do that. And those are options. But if I want to keep them going, here I have 2 that are in progress. And like Valerie said she did with hers this week, I knit a little bit on one until I get to a certain point, put it down, knit on this one. That way I know they're going to get kind of done at the same time. I know I'm also using the same technique. If I do one sock and it sits for 2 or 3 months and I come back to start a second sock, I may not remember some of the specifics unless I'm good about writing things down. And truthfully, I'm not good at always taking those notes. So that's kind of why I like to do this. So I keep one going on each. Now, to make instead of having to buy 2 sets of those, what I do, I can put my hand on it again. Ah, here it is. I don't know, can you see here? I have a short needle and a long needle. What I do is I put 1 3-inch and 1 2-inch on my 5-inch cable. So I have 1 needle that's a longer needle and 1 needle that's a shorter. Now what I do then is I make sure whatever is my dominant hand, and I talk dominant hand because I'm a lefty. So my dominant hand is my left hand, and whichever hand you find you do the most movement and directing your needles with, I keep that one in my dominant hand, the longer one. And I keep my shorter one in the one that's in a sense more my carrier or my stabilizer, whatever you'd like to refer that to. But that way, with that one little set of needles, I have 2 identical. Now the kit comes with a 5 and a 6 for the cables. I use a 5 and a 6 in that, and I usually, most of the time it'll work. If it doesn't, I would buy a separate little cable to go along with it to have the 2. Now I really got into liking these when I started doing socks that were stranded patterns. When we did the Christmas Advent sock, I found that really worked well. And the reason I find it worked well for me is the whole round was there. I didn't have half a round on one set and half a round further down on my magic loop. That way, if my pattern as I did my stranded, I didn't have to worry about where that magic loop break was in my pattern. So, because not always do they have it an equal amount, that you always have 5 stitches in your pattern and it all just always works out. So this made it really faster for me to do the stranded knitting on this. And I felt like it worked well for me to keep my tension with my stranded knitting. I was amazed that, to me, doing my stranded socks on here, how fast stranded socks went. And I don't know if it had something to do with this, or if it was the fact that there's that anticipation, you know, the next pattern, the next color, the next piece is coming up, and it's like, okay, I'm almost there. I'm ready to start the next. I don't know which one it is, but it seemed like it went faster for me. But I would maybe do with that Advent and also with our 2020 sock, I would do the one set of a pattern design with this one. Then I'd pick up the second sock that was on the other of these needles, and I'd do that pattern piece. And I found that really worked well. And I didn't lose my enthusiasm for the socks by doing it that way. Now, the difficult part of this for some people is manipulating such small needles, because you're talking about a shorter length, and that takes a while to get used to if you do the majority of your knitting on 5-inch needles before you have your cable, because you do find it's a little different and you hold it maybe a little differently. Some people say it will cramp their fingers doing that. So you have to really see what works well for you. I have small hands and I have small fingers, and I think that maybe makes it easier for me. But I know other people that have a larger sized hand and it works well for them. So it really depends on you. And that's why it's one of the things, try it. Just like doing 2 at a time, try it, see if you like it or don't like it. Some of you have maybe done using the little needles. I did find that really helped me too, doing the long and the short to make the use of my needles. Karen, you have a question? Yes.
I actually hold the longer one in my non-dominant hand and then work with the smaller one.
Okay, so see, we do something different. Yeah. And that's where, again, you test it. And the fun thing is, if you're using the ones that are interchangeable, if you try it one way as you're knitting and it doesn't feel quite right, switch the needles and keep going, because your project still stays on your needles. You just be changing out your tips to the other side, and then see if the other way feels better for you. Yeah. We learn, don't we, Karen? We learn what works for us. Other questions anybody have?
What size cable did you say you use, Kay?
If you buy the little kit, the little one, the one that's just like the 2 and 3 inch of a size, this comes with 1 5-inch cable and 1 6-inch cable. And it really depends on how many stitches you work with. And for me on socks, I use anywhere from 56 to 64. And so, you know, if I'm down to the 56, I really need to, have the 5-inch on the ones with it. So I'd really have a 10-inch circular total length to it. Okay. You know, you can buy just the little cables, because I bought some other little cables. And I've also, here I have one that I've used for some magic loop, that I put the little needles onto a longer one of they call it a mini cable. It's because the cable is a much smaller diameter to be able to fit on these little needles. So it's called a mini. Other questions? Karen, your hand up again, or is that left? It's going away. Okay, okay. Another little hint I would give you, it's not related to the little shorties, but when you finish the socks like these, one recommendation I would say is weigh your socks. Weigh the pair of them. And I just have a little food scale at home that has either ounces or grams on it. When I finished my pair of socks here, I put them on my scale and it weighed out at 53 grams. So I had some different leftover sock yarns that I had done. I thought, well, I have enough to do. So I went ahead and weighed them, and that helped me to know, okay, could I do the whole sock in that plain yarn? Could I do the sock if I probably added on something for a different contrast for my heel or toe or my cuff? That way you're not having to necessarily play yarn chicken as much. Comments, questions?
I was just gonna say, we have a scale at the shop too. So if you don't happen to have one at home, stick them in your bag, and next time you're in the shop, we can weigh them for you and you can mark it down in your.
And bring those sock yarns you want to weigh along, and then just put, you know, put them in something with a little tag that says, how many grams do you have on that? Because you can always, at some point, if you want to use it in another project, you can convert back then how many grams to really where you're at close to yardage. So to know if they will fit into another pattern that you have. Okay, Anne, you had a question. Yes, Anne Ball.
Oh, I was just wondering if we're doing the Operation Sock Drawer, 2 pairs or 2 shorties count as 1 sock. Is that true?
That is correct.
So do we have to like send you a photo tomorrow, or is tonight good enough that you've got it written down?
We've written down who has tonight, so we can get that marked down for you.
Yeah.
Okay, Valerie, I only showed one of mine. Did you get, I have both of them done. I only showed one though.
I got them. Got 'em.
Thank you very much.
And I left Kay a little Post-it note on the stack of blue cards, so she knows to check them all off tomorrow morning when she gets there. So.
Thank you very much.
Okay, now Connie, did you have a question? I was thinking I maybe saw your hand. No, okay, I see the head shake. Don't call on me. Oh, okay. All righty, now what we did is we put in, I numbered all of the names of people who made comments on our not Facebook, our Ravelry Knit Paper Scissors group thread for Sock Camp. And everyone who made a comment on there, whether you did socks or not, if you even just commented about someone's project or something, you're in here. We're going to do a drawing, and we are going to give away 2 baby bees. So Valerie, I have 15 names on my list, and I need you to draw or select a number.
Draw it out of my head.
Yes.
Let's go with 7.
7. Yeah. Okay, number 7 on my list is Anne Wiederspan.
Oh, Anne.
And you are the winner of 2 baby bees. So come by the shop and select out what you want for babies. Now we're going to do the same thing next week. So that means get on to our Ravelry. So go to Ravelry Community Groups, Knit Paper Scissors. Then you'll see our different threads and select our Sock Camp thread. You'll see what's been done by people, what patterns they've put in there. So if you make any kind of a post on there and make it nice, any post that you do will get you in to be in the drawing for next week. So let's have you do that. Trying to think anything else. Anybody else have any questions? Oh, Elizabeth, yes.
Last week, Angie asked us to post our yarn and pattern in Ravelry. Would you like us to do that again this week?
You know what? It's great if it does, because that would count for your posting. And it's really fun for us as we go through as other viewers to see what patterns and then to see how they look when they're done. Plus, put that in your projects page, you know, kind of, and make a note. If you found when you did your sock, you needed more rows before you started the heel, make in your notations on your project page that you did that or that you need to do that. Because I can tell you, I go back to those, like on this sock that I just finished, I went back and put in how much it weighed because I know in my memory, I won't remember down the road how much this weighed. And so I'll have it right there handy to be able to look up. So, yes.
So I can go edit my project because I didn't think to do the weight to weigh them. I can go back to my project and add that later.
You can, yes. You can always go back to your projects you put in. You can add things into them. For sure. Other questions, comments? Seeing none. Begin week 2 of camp and let's see what you're doing and have fun. That's the main thing. This is something we want you to have fun. Okay?
Thank you, Kay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.